How's it going, everybody? ChaoticMeatball here, and welcome back to the channel. So, it's time for another spin-off Professor Oak challenge, and it is Pokemon Rumble. I've got a ton of history with this series, since I've been playing it since it came out on WiiWare back in 2009, and I've really loved these games ever since. Well, until Rumble Rush came out on mobile devices, but that got discontinued, so the series is no longer tarnished. Anyway, I'm sure you heard WiiWare, and you realized, well, guess I'm not playing that. And you're right, if you haven't downloaded this on your Wii, then you're not playing it without nefarious means. But that's beside the point. If you've never played Pokemon Rumble, it's a game where you use and recruit toy Pokemon to explore tons, and by tons I mean 6 levels repeating, of hallways, and collect all of the toy Pokemon from Kanto and Sinnoh. Yeah, there's no Johto or Hoenn Pokemon in this game, even though it's a Gen 4 title. Can't say I'm surprised though, since it's a cheap WiiWare title, but it is a wee bit disappointing. But it makes my life easier since I only have to get 257 Pokemon instead of 493. So, starting out we have a Rattata, and that's about it. We lose the Battle Royale, and we're sent to get Pokemon above 100 power to get back in. Obviously, the Battle Royales are the barriers for this challenge. Doesn't matter what level you start with, as long as you get every Pokemon before every Battle Royale, so that shouldn't be that bad. Before we start though, I'd like to give a shout out to Sage from the Professor Oak Challenge Discord server for making the guide for this challenge. This really helped out making this video, and if you haven't already, make sure to join that server, link in the description, along with my own personal server, as well as to subscribe to the channel, as only around 74% of the people that view my videos are subscribed, and we've got a packed December schedule, so you'll want to be around for that. But with that, let's get down to business. So we're starting with Normal Rank C's Silent Forest. There's quite a few Pokemon to grab here, so I was able to get Pikachu, which is scripted. You can't miss this unless you straight up go around the Pikachu, as well as Caterpie, Paris, and Ivysaur before unlocking everything else. So here's a bit of a thing, and that's passwords. Just like how you use passwords to get the eggs in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, like Slugma, Wooper, and Mareep, there's certain passwords to get certain Pokemon here in Rumble, those being Charmander, Squirtle, Venusaur, Piplup, Chimchar, Turtwig, Blastoise, Charizard, Raichu, Eevee, Garchomp, Dragonite, Electivire, Megmortar, Rotom, Togekiss, Regigigas, Bidoof, Zapdos, Bibarel, Shaman, Giratina, Mew, and Cherim. I'm sure you saw those big numbers, but the game at least restricts those to one less than the requirement for entering each Battle Royale with the help of Wonder Keys. These aren't necessarily a big deal in this game, but they play a bit more of a role in the next game if you didn't know. Anyway, I made my way back into Silent Forest and grabbed Jigglypuff, Bulbasaur, and a few repeats, just running through with Togekiss until I had enough duplicate Pokemon for release. See, releasing these Pokemon in groups of 5 at a time gives me tickets for new evolutions, so I'm able to release 5 Paras for a Parasect ticket, as well as a 5 Caterpie for a Metapod ticket. You can only hold one of these tickets at a time, so I had to redeem them as I grabbed them. And this is essentially the whole game, running through the levels over and over again and grabbing new and repeated Pokemon as you go. Next round, I managed to recruit a Wigglytuff instead of releasing 5 Jigglypuff, leaving just Butterfree for the area. Togekiss is great to run through these Pokemon, with Air Slash being a super fast attack that's super effective on everything in the area aside from Pikachu, including the boss Ivysaur, and after releasing 5 Metapods, I was able to get Butterfree and move on to the Windy Prairie. On my first attempt, I managed to recruit Meowth, Doduo, Spearow, Dodrio, Raticate, Persian, and Lickitung pretty easily. The 2 most difficult Pokemon to get in this area are Farfetch'd and Lickitung, both of which are rare spawns, but on my third try on Farfetch'd, I managed to get it, releasing 5 Spearow for a Fearow straight after and leaving just Lickitung. We of course are trying to get 5 of them to release for Licky, but it's a rare spawn, so it takes quite a bit of time to grab them all. And on top of it, we can't see the Sinnoh Pokemon that I've recruited until I get to the Advanced rank, which means I have to get through Normal Rank C, B, A, and S before getting there. It's weird that I can still get these Pokemon, but they aren't accounted for until then. Not a problem since I have footage of it all, but it's still somewhat inconvenient. I also tried to use the recruit point here by spending the money that is dropped by any Pokemon I don't recruit to get extra Lickitungs. Either way, after about 10 clears, I managed to get all 5 Lickitungs, recruiting Licky with the ticket. Third level here is Rocky Cave, which has quite a few easy Pokemon like Machop, Clefairy, Ekans, Machoke, Graveler before trying for something with the move tutor. See, there's a move called Focus Energy that increases the chances of critical hits. This is absolutely useless in the main games. I mean, it can be, but why waste a turn? But critical hits in Rumble make other Pokemon wobble, which if KO'd while wobbling, have a 100% recruit rate. I'm unfortunately not able to get it yet, but it will be a lot more useful later on in the run. The rest of the Pokemon for the area are Geodude, Arbok, Clefable, Machamp, and Golem. 4th level on the loop is Fiery Furnace, which has Vulpix, Mankey, Magnemite, Primeape, Ninetales, and Charmeleon. Magnezone is the only Sinnoh Pokemon we can get here thanks to the Magnemite and Magneton in the area, and that's pretty much it. A very simple stage in the challenge. 5th stage in the lineup is Bright Beach, and there's a pretty decent amount of Pokemon from this area, including Poliwag, Tentacool, Poliwhirl, Shelder, Tentacruel, Poliwrath, Magikarp, Wartortle, Gyarados, and Cloyster. There's nothing much here, though the funny thing here is that I keep finding shiny Pokemon like they're somewhat common. I managed to get Spearow and Ekans already at this point, and I also redeemed those passwords for Pikachu, Raichu, Rattata, and Bidoof, so having a half a dozen shinies at this point is quite nuts. Eternal Tower is the last area of the game, since all of these levels repeat as we advance in rank, of course with new Pokemon in the levels, or else would be done pretty quickly. Eternal Tower has Nidoran Male, Cubone, Nidorino, Nidorina, Drowsy, Nidoran Female, Hypno, Marowak, and by releasing, I can get both Nidoqueen and Nidoking. You're probably thinking right now, wow, this challenge is really boring. There's no strategy other than running through the levels and hoping you recruit things. And while yes, it definitely is like that early on in the challenge, I assure you there's some strategies that I came up with to do this challenge quickly. With that said though, I easily ripped through the Battle Royale, moving me on to normal rank B. I started with something a wee bit different here, and that's teaching my shiny rat how to call down thunderbolts from the heavens before again, starting the rank with Silent Forest. And as I said before, there's a lot of new Pokemon in each area, so I grabbed Venonat, Kakuna, Weedle, and would you look at that, a Lucky Weedle. This is the rank where they introduce special traits, and while we had a few from our password Pokemon, this is where we actually get them easily. Lucky gives me 3 times the amount of money dropped from each Pokemon except bosses, Brawny gives me higher HP, Guard gives higher defense depending on what type it says it guards from, and there's a ton of other ones that you can find on Bulbapedia. Moving back to recruits, I also got Beedrill and Venomoth to finish off the area in 4 clears. Some of these areas go by really quickly if they don't have any annoying Pokemon, but we'll have quite a number of those annoying ones coming up sooner than you think. Windy Prairie doesn't have much in this rank, so I got Pidgey, Bellsprout, Execute, Pidgeotto, Executor, Weepinbell, Pidgeot, and Victory Bell. I made sure to grab 2 Pidgeot by the end of this, since there's something we'll be talking about later on that's going to require both of them. Rocky Cave is 3rd again, and the only difficult thing about this stage is getting 5 Rhydon to release for a Rhyperior. Rhydon's the boss of the area, so it's a bit more difficult to get it to wobble and fall over, so I kinda relied on recruiting 25 Rhyhorn while also grabbing Zubat, Diglett, Sandshrew, Rhyhorn, Onix, Golbat, Dugtrio, and Sandslash, before finally getting Rhydon and Rhyperior and moving on to Fiery Furnace again. Also, as I said before, no Johto or Hoenn Pokemon in this game, so no Crobat luckily. Fiery Furnace doesn't have any super hard Pokemon to get, aside from the boss Magmar, so it was easy enough to collect Ponyta, Electrode, Arcanine, Rapidash, Hitmonlee, and Growlithe for the first trip through. I tipped over Magmar on my first attempt here, but it doesn't really help if I can't KO it fast enough, since they do end up snapping out of being wobbled pretty quickly, and that tends to be a pretty big problem when it comes to recruiting bosses. Chances are you'll want to have Focus Energy by now, but I still don't have it unfortunately. After a few more clears though, I got Voltorb, Hitmonchan, and gave up to trying to fight Magmar, instead just recruiting it from the recruit point by spending some of my coins before moving on. This is a pretty useful part of the area, especially when you take on an area where you need a very rare Pokemon for release, such as back in Rank C with Lickitung. We actually could have gone Fiery Furnace first and took advantage of the recruit point to get Magmar, but at the same time, it's almost like you don't have enough coins to really try to get it, but to each their own. With that said, moving on to Bright Beach, on my first go around, I recruited Horsey, Krabby, Psyduck, Goldeen, and Seadra, leaving only a few more to grab. Nothing else here is really difficult to get anyway, so after a few run-throughs I managed to get Golduck, Seeking, Jinx, and Kingler from releasing 5 Krabby since it's not actually in the level. Not too bad, but Eternal Tower. Oh lord, Eternal Tower B is probably the worst level so far. First of all is Abra. It's the rarest individual spawn in the level, since you normally get Kadabra, but for me, somehow, I didn't even notice that I ran into one and picked it up. Alright, well, that's lucky, but the next one is Mime Jr. It doesn't appear in the level itself, so instead you have to get 5 Mr. Mime to release to get it, which is in the same situation as Lickitung in the last rank, and Mr. Mime is just as rare of a spawn, if not more so. Everything else is easy enough to get a hold of, though, those being Kadabra, Ghastly, Haunter, Coughing, Wheezing, the boss Electabuzz, as well as both Gengar and Alakazam from releasing 5 Haunter and Kadabra respectively. And with the 6 levels down in rank B, we're actually not quite done yet. This is the first instance of a special release ticket, where you can release a certain group of Pokemon to get a new one, and the only available one here in rank B is Moltres, which we can obtain by releasing Charizard, Pidgeot, Fearow, and Magmar at the same time. Cool, with that done, the Battle Royale is easy enough to get through, leaving just areas A and S for the normal rank. Rank A is honestly just as easy as the last 2 sections, just mash fast attacks until you snag everything you need. Silent Forest is yet again our starter here, and it's pretty easy, only having Oddish, Gloom, Vileplume, Scyther, and Pinsir. Here is where I actually started having some strategies though, since I came up with the strategy of using a weak Pokemon, hitting those rare Pokemon like Scyther and Pinsir over and over again until I get a critical and it wobbles, knocking it over before it snaps out. If that doesn't happen though, you can just walk back to the beginning of the screen, they'll reset their position, heal up, and you can do it again. Why wait for a rare spawn again to come out when you can just do this? This is probably your best bet during the normal rank levels, just saving your money for the advanced ranks, since you won't need it for the EX ranks whatsoever. You'll see why at the end, but this makes life a lot easier, especially if you have a gutsy Pokemon with focus energy that increases the odds of critical hits. With that out of the way though, Silent Forest doesn't actually have any release Pokemon if you're lucky enough to get a Vileplume from the level itself, allowing me to move on to the Windy Prairie. This level only has 2 slight difficulties, which are getting 5 Tangela to release for its evolution, as well as getting the boss Aerodactyl. Luckily, the Tangelas are extremely common, and on my first clear of the level, I legitimately crit the Aerodactyl and picked it up, leaving just Tauros, Dratini, and Dragonair to pick up from the level, and Tangrowth from the release point. Thank goodness for passwords, or else I would have had to get 5 Dragonair to get Dragonite, and both of the dragons in the level are a bit more rare than the rest of them. Well, everything seems to be going well, so what about Rocky Cave? Here we can get Slowpoke, Slowbro, Kangaskhan, and even Lapras are easy enough to get from both the level and the recruit point. But Rocky Cave does have 2 problems, Kabuto and Kabutops. They are very rare spawns. Kabuto only spawns on the 2nd floor of the dungeon, whereas Kabutops can only appear in the second half. Either way, they're not that hard to get, but it definitely took a few clears to even find them, and use my strategy of critting them with a weak Pokemon to get them easily, along with the recruit points since I was just not finding these things. Not a big deal, but I think this is the longest amount of time I've taken on a single level next to Area B's Eternal Tower. Now that Kabuto and Kabutops are in the collection, I'm able to move on to the Fiery Furnace, which has absolutely nothing new. Huh. Well, I guess I'll just clear the level once and run back over to Bright Beach. This is the same situation as Rocky Cave, except with the Ammonite line. So getting Seal, Dugong, Staryu, and Starmie was the easy task, but those 2 took a few clears and recruit point visits to get 5 Ammonites, released to get an Amistar. Not much to be said other than that, so let's get back to the pain that is Eternal Tower. Fortunately, there's only 4 Pokemon to get in this area, one of which is from the recruit point. Grimer and Muck are super easy to get, but Porygon is a very very rare spawn, which took quite a few tries to find even one and tip it over. Fortunately though, since there's no Johto Pokemon, I only need 5 Porygon to get Porygon Z, so a few clears as well as some recruit point visits helped me enough to get Porygon Z, leaving just the special release tickets for this section. Of course, there's only one for this rank as well, that being Articuno, which I can get by releasing Pidgeot, Fearow, Jinx, and Lapras at the same time, getting Articuno and moving on through the Battle Royale. Spam fast attacks, destroy, and repeat. That's all I can tell you for these stages, quite frankly, leaving just Area S for the normal rank. With Area S, we're starting to run out of Kanto Pokemon to recruit, so it's definitely understandable that this area barely has anything to get that's brand new. In fact, Silent Forest probably has the most new Pokemon to catch, those including Chansey, which I need 5 of to recruit a Happiny, but of course they're rare spawns, so it's time to deal with that again. I fortunately found one on my first trip through the level though, only taking a few attempts to tip it over and recruit it before getting to the boss, Snorlax, which I also need 5 of to get Munchlax. This level sucks. I legit just destroyed everything around so that I could hopefully get enough money to just recruit enough of them at the recruit point, but I wanted to do at least a few clears first before trying the recruit point, and sure enough, I actually found Ditto here as well. This is a rare spawn throughout every level in Area S, so finding it in the first level is super lucky, so I just did my normal strategy of hit it a few times, go back, and repeat, before recruiting it and going back to the Chansey and Snorlax grind. After 4 clears of the level though, I went back to the recruit point since I had enough money for 2 recruits. And I managed to get 2 Snorlax. Not bad at all. I expected to get cucked into some dumb Vileplumes or Venusaurs that I don't need, but I will humbly accept 2 extra Snorlax in my endeavors. And after another clear though, I decided that this was going way too slow, and that I have way too many Pokemon in my collection as it is, so I looked at the remainder of the special release tickets, favored the Pokemon that I need for those so I don't accidentally release them, and then released a ton of weak stuff that I can't use anymore to get enough money to recruit a few new things, including 3 extra Snorlax, which got me the Munchlax ticket, as well as 2 extra Chansey, giving me the Happiny ticket that opens me up to the next stage. So, Windy Prairie doesn't have anything new, since we already grabbed Ditto in the Silent Forest, and shockingly, same with the Rocky Cave, though I did get an additional 3 Lapras since I'll need those for special release tickets later on. If I'm being honest though, there's only 3 more Pokemon needed for the rest of the stages, those being the Gen 1 Evolutions. Flareon's in the Fiery Furnace, and I only need a single one, same with Jolteon over in the Eternal Tower, but I need 4 Vaporeons. It doesn't take a super long time to find them, and with my patented technique of beat them up until they tip over and run away before they die if they don't, I managed to get all 4 of them, so it's already time for these special release tickets. Both Lapras and Vaporeon are released together in order to get Fion, so I did that 3 times to get 3 of them, then released the 3 Fion to get a Manaphy, leaving just the Rank S Battle Royale to end normal mode. And may I just say, screw this Mewtwo's attacks. I want them, but I can't get them. So, the advanced rank is where we start actually seeing Sinnoh Pokemon, and in turn I can actually see them in my collection. Nothing that's much of a big deal, but at least we can see how many I have now. I wonder where we're starting off again. Oh right, Silent Forest. Duh. This stage is the most new Pokemon compared to all the other advanced E stages, but it's not too nuts. Badoo, Roserade, Burmy, and Wormadam are easily recruitable, but Grottle's the boss, and we need 5 of them to get a Torterra. Sure enough though, the recruit point is your friend, but not before you get 5 Wormadam, since oddly, this game wants you to release 5 Wormadam to get a Mothim. But Wormadam doesn't evolve into Mothim, despite me thinking it when I was a kid. Weird. Mothim was easy enough to get, but Torterra did take a few run-throughs as well as the recruit point before getting it. Nothing too terrible here, but honestly the whole rank C is easy, aside from one level we'll get to in a bit. Windy Prairie has quite an easy lineup of Pokemon, those being Pachirisu, Cherubi, Baniri, Lopunny, and Chatot. Nothing to go to the recruit point for, no bosses to recruit, just a simple stage. Gotta love it. Then again, you also gotta love Rocky Cave since it literally only has Croagunk and Toxicroak. But I guess all good things must come to an end, since Fiery Furnace is the stage I was referring to before. Both Cranidos and Shieldon are here as very rare spawns, and Monferno's the boss, so we need 5 of all 3 of those Pokemon to get their evolutions. Have I mentioned before that the recruit point is your best friend, but it is also your worst enemy since it most likely will spit out Pokemon you just don't want. I at least managed to get a Monferno and Cranidos before 4 clears, but that was just the beginning. Infernape was my first recruit out of the 3, but the fossils just took so damn long that my first Shieldon came on my 8th clear. I think it took a full 2 hours to get all 5 of Cranidos and Shieldon to get Rampardos and Bastiodon, but jeez man, 2 hours on a single stage in Rumble? That's a long time. However, there's only 2 more stages for this rank, the first of them being Bright Beach. Weasel, Floatzel, Finneon, and Luminion are easy to get here, but of course Prinplup is the boss like the other 2 mid-stage Sinnoh starters, so we need 5 of those to get Empoleon. But since Piplup is super easy to get a hold of, like Turtwig and Chimchar were prior, it makes both of them easy enough to get, leaving just the Eternal Tower. Well, before that I can grab the only special release ticket of this area by releasing Charizard, Arbok, Arcanine, Kangaskhan, and Bastiodon. I can get the landform of Shaman. I have no clue what correlation those Pokemon have to Shaman, but okay then. I really don't. Like, Charizard can incinerate Shaman, Arbok can poison Shaman, Arcanine can also incinerate Shaman, Kangaskhan can beat Shaman up and put it in its pouch to be eaten by its child, and Bastiodon can just fall on it. I guess they all have a way of killing Shaman? I have no clue. With that said though, Stunky, Skuntank, Skorupi, and Drapion are all very easy to get from the Eternal Tower, with the only problem Pokemon being Mismagius. Since there's no Johto Pokemon, there's no Misdreavus to recruit to release for Mismagius, so we basically have to either hope for it through the recruit point or recruit it as a boss. Luckily, I got it from the random recruit point, so I don't have to deal with it, leaving just the Battle Royale and the Spring to advance Rank B. Rank B only has 2 problematic Pokemon out of the entire rank, but we'll talk about them later. Silent Forest here is super easy, since the boss here, Vespiquen, can just be ignored since you can recruit 5 of any Combee, not just female, and release them for Vespiquen. And Kricketot, Kricketune, and Carnivine are pretty plentiful, leaving this stage in the dust. Windy Prairie, though, has literally double the amount of new Pokemon. The Starly line is easy enough, especially since Staraptor is the boss, so we don't really have to recruit that, instead just getting 5 Staravia and releasing them for Staraptor. Drifloon and Drifblim are very rare, but I managed to find both of them while researching for Riolu. Before we get to that though, Lamiao and Purugly were the last easy ones to find for the stage, leaving just Ambipom and Riolu, of course. I found one Ambipom pretty early on, but I didn't realize that it was a rare spawn, so I just KO'd it and kept going. So it took a few tries to find another one, but it was fine since I need 5 Riolu anyway to get a Lucario. Riolu actually took quite a number of run-throughs to find even one of, kind of on par with Shieldon and how annoying it was. So I went to the recruit point and managed to nab 3 of them before trying to get rid of more Pokemon to get more money to try to get another one. But that didn't work, so I just went back into the level and searched for one more. And the first trap back in, I managed to find one again, recruiting it, releasing them for Lucario, and moving on to the Rocky Cave. This area might seem tough on paper since you need 2 Garchomps for release tickets, but we already have one thanks to passwords, and Gible and Gabite are fortunately easy enough to find, leaving just Snover and Abomasnow. Snover's common, and Abomasnow's the boss, so recruiting 5 Snover and releasing for the Abomasnow is a breeze, leading to Fiery Furnace once again. The only new Pokemon here is the Shinx line, so Shinx and Luxio are easy recruits, while Luxray is the boss. So releasing 5 Luxio is the best way to pull that off, but by this point, I actually got him a champ with Focus Energy, which made the rest of this whole rank a breeze, recruiting Luxray and leaving just one more Pokemon we've dealt with before, that being Shieldon and Bastiodon. We need another one for a special release ticket, but I waited until this stage because Shieldon is much easier to find in this level compared to the last rank, letting me grab 5 of those and store a Bastiodon for later. And by later I mean right now. We already have everything for all 3 special release tickets of this section, as I can release Dragonite, Bastionon, Garchomp, Lucario, and Magnezone for Dialga, then release Blastoise, Gyarados, Dragonite, Empoleon, and Garchomp for Palkia, then release Dialga, Palkia, and the Giratina from Passwords to get Mewtwo. I kind of wish I could have kept my Dragonclaw Garchomp, but I'll survive. The last 2 levels for this rank are really easy, as Bright Beach has Shellos, Gastrodon, Hippopotas, Hippowdon, and Mantike, with Hippowdon being the boss, so either using Focus Energy and recruiting it, or releasing 5 Hippopotas works. Same with Gastrodon, but both of Shellos and Gastrodon are in the level, so it's not a pain to get on your hands on both, leaving just the Eternal Tower. There's a ton of rare spawns here, but when everything is rare, nothing is. It's like a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards from a special set, say Maximum Gold, which came out a few weeks back. You're always guaranteed multiple high-rarity cards. So are they actually rare? Absolutely not, but I only pulled 1 freaking gold Blue Eyes White Dragon from 7 boxes! Getting back to the level, of course, I can get Honchkrow, Chingling, Bronzor, Bonsly, and Gliscor easily, leaving just the boss, Bronzong. Wow, this tranquilizing drug really does the job. Alright, now that I'm woken up and I'm okay again, where were we? Oh yeah, Bronzong. Yeah, same strategy as before works, leaving just the Battle Royale and moving onward to the penultimate rank of the Advanced Mode. Getting tired yet? Because Rumble can be a bit repetitive since it's the same levels over and over again, but it'll be better when we get to Rumble Blast, trust me. So rank A here legitimately has barely any new Pokemon, those being Yanmega and Gallade in Silent Forest, Mamoswine, Probopass, Weavile, and Frostlass in Rocky Cave, and Dusknoir in the Eternal Tower. The guide I was using forgot about Weavile, so I'll see if I can get that fixed so that when you guys use it, you don't accidentally fail the challenge this deep into it, but then again, it's kind of hard to do that when you can see what Pokemon appear in each level thanks to a checklist before you go in. Lastly, I would say Rotom, but we already have one from a password, so 1 or 2 clears of each level is all you need if you're lucky. Maybe a few more if you don't get those rare spawns, but with my back and forth healing strategy, along with a Pokemon that has Focus Energy, and a move that doesn't flinch, paralyze, or anything else, since that does seem to interfere with critical hits, it just does the job really quickly. The only thing about this is that we'll have to come back after clearing rank S to recruit 4 more Rotom, but we won't worry about that for a little while. 1 Battle Royale later, and it's time for the last advanced area. And rank S, advanced rank S, is where the game actually starts to get hard. Legendaries appear as bosses, and while yes, we had Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos before, we've got Cresselia, Heatran, and Regigigas in this one. We already have Regigigas from Password, so there's no need to worry about that one, but we will need to recruit the other 2. Silent Forest has both Leafeon, which is an easy enough spawn to find, and Cresselia as the boss. It's easy enough to avoid the psychic attacks, so using Machamp or some other Pokemon that gets Focus Energy will still work. I recruited it on my first clear, so I can't say that it's hard, just a bit tedious if you don't have Focus Energy. After that though, I realized I need a much higher power Machamp, so I released 5 of my leftover Machokes to get a new one, teaching it Focus Energy by spending a bit at the move tutor, and leaving the rest of the area to be an easy time. Windy Prairie is free since there's nothing new, and Rocky Cave only has Glaceon as a new Pokemon, and you only need 1 for a release ticket, so you're all good after a clear or 2 of that stage. Fiery Furnace only has Heatran, and it's the boss, so just running through the stage and fighting that might be your best bet. And honestly, the shiny Raichu that you got at the beginning of the game with Passwords is your best bet for running through, especially if it ended up with Agility, which I think it always does, but don't quote me on that. I just swapped for Machamp before the fight itself, letting me recruit it, again, on my first try. So much for legendaries, I guess. Bright Beach is a simple stage. I legit just ran through with Raichu, accidentally getting walled, and continued to the boss without losing another Pokemon, KOing and... Seriously? I just used Focus Energy for the heck of it. How did I get Regigigas on the first attempt too? Well, I guess that's fine, not like I need it, but I will take a second Regigigas, I guess. Last up is Eternal Tower, and sure enough, the boss is all we care about, that being Spiritomb. The bigger challenge of this stage was just not dying with Raichu while running, but hey, it happened anyway, and you know what else happened anyway? Me getting Spiritomb on my first try. Legitimately, I have no idea what the problem is here. I guess the luck has to come in somewhere, and I guess it's happening at the end, but I'll take it. With that though, I have to go get those 4 additional Rotom from rank A, which surprisingly wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, since I had around 160,000 coins, and managed to get 3 Rotoms off of it. One more to go, so I just challenged the rank A Battle Royale over and over again to get additional coins, since it gives 13,000 after every clear, and sure enough, after literally 1 clear, I went to the recruit point, and it spit out the 4th Rotom, leaving just the special release tickets of Area S. The first 5 are the Rotom forms, which I can get Fan Rotom with Rotom and Jolteon, Wash with Rotom and Vaporeon, Heat with Rotom and Flareon, Cut with Rotom and Leafeon, and Frost with Rotom and Glaceon. Here's the kicker though. I released all 5 of the forms so that I could get Darkrai, finishing up the advanced rank by beating... I said beating... Oh, come on, man, I said okay, this is where the game really does get hard, I wasn't lying. I got my bum kicked by this Battle Royale like 10 times before winning. But once you win, it's off to the races in the EX mode, where we really won't be doing much. We're actually only missing 3 Pokemon out of the entire collection available here in Rumble, and that is the Sinnoh Lake Trio. Uxie's available in Rocky Cave and Bright Beach, Mesprit's in Silent Forest and Windy Prairie, and Azelf is in Fiery Furnace and Eternal Tower, all of which are very rare spawns. However, that luck was still in effect from earlier, since I found Mesprit on my first trip through Silent Forest, running into it in the 5th room. And sure enough, first try on using Machamp's Focus Energy, I tipped it over and recruited it, leaving just the other 2. I went for Uxie second, going to Bright Beach, and you guessed it, I found it on my first run-through. They're still making this stuff up, it was just there. So I KO'd everything else in the room, switched for Machamp, and took a few smacks at it, and it snapped right out of wobbling right as I KO'd, meaning I had to wait another 7 attempts before finding another one, using Machamp, and getting it very carefully this time, but I did get it, leaving just Azelf. I wasn't as lucky with it as I was with Mesprit, and somewhat with Uxie, but on my 10th attempt of the Eternal Tower, I gave up and tried Fiery Furnace, and sure enough on my 5th attempt of this level, I found an Azelf, tipped it over, and recruited it, finishing the POC with a total of 257 Pokemon, and a time of 33 hours and 17 minutes. Not bad at all for a spin-off, definitely one of the shorter ones out there, and dang, KOing nearly 30,000 Pokemon in 33 hours is pretty good. And befriending 2,500 of them, that's almost 10%. Decent odds if I do say so myself. But that's it for the Pokemon Rumble Professor Oak's challenge. I definitely could have done better when it came to recruiting, luck, and just overall movement, but I don't think that this time is going to get touched anytime soon. Unless someone just destroys me without my knowledge, and knowing my luck outside of these videos, it's bound to happen. With that said, I'm not sure what Oak Challenge will be doing next, but what I do know is that from the poll I sent out to you guys through the community tab, there's legitimately over 50 games for me to choose from. So I'll get to work, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, 3/4 of the viewers do not subscribe. I don't know why. You should subscribe. You can unsubscribe later, and you'll help me get to that 100,000 mark so I can get that nice little plaque to hang up on my wall. I really want to hang that up on my wall. But if you do want to put me in your sub box, definitely hit the bell and click all notifications below the video. And other than that, I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.